Most people think their problem is motivation. They're waiting for a feeling, a spark, a perfect Monday. But what if the real problem is that you've never learned how to suffer on and stay calm inside it? Life stops negotiating with you. This is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. And the promise of this book is brutal but freeing. You can train your mind the same way you train your body. You can turn pain into a tool. You can stop letting your past decide your limits. And you can build a level of self-respect that doesn't depend on anyone's opinion. We're going to walk through every major chapter and lesson, so by the end, you'll have the full picture. Not a few quotes, not a shallow highlight reel. The actual operating system Goggins is trying to hand you and hates that he can't access it on command. Late 20s, decent job, smart, curious. He even saves them. But then the day hits. Stress, comfort, excuses, and he slips back into the same familiar version of himself. He doesn't feel weak, but he feels stuck. And the reason this book punches people in the face is because it says, good. You're stuck because you've been living inside a soft lie. So let's start where Goggins starts. He begins with a childhood that was chaos, fear, and survival. But as a receipt, he's making 1 point early and it matters. Or it can build you, but it won't do both at the same time. He talks about living in an environment where pain was normal, where the rules changed every day. Because sometimes it did. Then he's thrown into a world where school is another kind of fight. Learning felt slow, confidence felt impossible. And on top of that, his body becomes another prison. Weight, shame, and the quiet belief that he's just not built like other people. Here's the first big idea hiding in that chapter. You'll act like it. Not because you're cursed, because your brain is trying to prove you right. Sam hears that and thinks, but my life isn't like that. I didn't go through that. And then he notices the point he's been missing. Goggins isn't asking you to compare trauma. He's asking you to stop using your history as a courtroom, where you keep arguing for your limitations. Sam has his own version of that courtroom. He's not in danger. He's not being chased. But he's carrying a story that sounds like this. I'm not a disciplined person. I'm not a morning person. I'm not built for hard things. So one night and uncomfortable. He opens his notes app and types the sentence he never says out loud. I keep quitting on myself. It hits him like a slap. Not because it's new, but because it's true. And right there, the first door opens. Because truth is the first form of pain that actually heals you. Truth hurts. Goggins introduces one of his most famous tools here, and it's simple, almost stupid, until you try it. The accountability mirror. The idea is that most people live with a foggy self-image. They think they're working hard. They think they're doing enough. They think they're being honest, but they're not. They're negotiating with themselves. So you create a moment where there's nowhere to hide. You put your flaws on the mirror. You put your goals on the mirror. You put your lies on the mirror. And every day you have to face it. No motivation speech, no new plan, and what you said you wanted. And here's the part most people miss. This isn't about self-hate, it's about self-respect. Because respect begins when you stop flattering yourself. But he's embarrassed. He feels dramatic. He feels like someone's going to walk in and laugh. He writes 3 things on a sticky note and puts it on his bathroom mirror. Stop scrolling at night. Work out even when you don't feel like it. Finish what you start. The next morning, he brushes his teeth and sees it. And his first reaction is to bargain, just not today. And he realizes the mirror is doing its job. It's forcing the negotiation into the open. That's the purpose. Because most people don't fail from a lack of knowledge. They fail from invisible deals they keep making with themselves. Think of it like driving with a dirty windshield. But you'll keep drifting because you can't see clearly. The accountability mirror is wiping the glass clean. It's not comfortable. It's not supposed to be. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but honesty doesn't magically create discipline. True. So the book goes deeper. The next chapter is The Impossible Task. And it's basically a story about reinventing yourself when your current identity can't get you where you want to go. Goggins looks at his life and sees the same things Sam sees. Can't win. So he decides to build a different version. Not with affirmations. Not with vibes, with work. He chooses something that requires a level of toughness he doesn't have yet. And and he starts paying the price to become the kind of person who can handle it. This is where the book introduces a concept that's hard to hear but powerful. You don't deserve a new life because you want it. You earn it because you become it. Sam hears this and feels two emotions at once, because it's clear, because it's unforgiving. So Sam runs his own little experiment. He picks one thing that feels impossible for him, not heroic, just real. He decides he's going to wake up early and walk or jog for 20 minutes. Every weekday. No matter what. On day 1, it's fine. Day 2, he's annoyed. Day 3, it's raining, and his brain starts writing poetry about why this is a terrible idea. But he goes anyway, and something weird happens around the end of the first week. He doesn't feel like a superhero. Steady. Like he proved to himself that his feelings aren't the boss. And that's where the real transformation starts. Because the goal isn't the jog. The goal is the identity of someone who does what he said he'd do. It's like forging steel. You don't get strong metal by thinking about strength. Over and over until it changes shape. Taking souls. This is where Goggins explains a kind of mental warfare, but against the part of life that tries to intimidate you. He describes how, when you show up with relentless effort, you break the spirit of the obstacle. You take its confidence. You steal its power. You don't need talent. You don't need perfect conditions. You need the willingness to outlast discomfort. Here's the crazy part. Most people stop when it starts to hurt. You instantly separate yourself. Not because you're special, because you're willing. Sam sees this at his job. There's a guy on his team who always seems calm under pressure. Deadlines, problems, chaos, he's not panicking. One day, Sam asks him how, and the guy says something so simple it almost makes Sam laugh. I don't look for comfort during pressure. I look for control. That sentence sticks. Sam starts trying it in small moments. When a task feels annoying, instead of escaping, he leans in. When a workout gets hard, he stays for one more minute. It's when a conversation feels awkward, he doesn't rush to end it. And he begins to notice something. Pressure is like a bully. If you flinch, it grows. If you stand your ground, it shrinks. That's taking souls. You're not yelling at the world, you're telling it. I'm still here. Then the book introduces a phrase that explains the entire system. Armored mind, a calloused mind. The same way your hands form calluses when you lift weights, your mind forms calluses when you do hard things repeatedly. At first, everything hurts. Then your tolerance grows. Then your identity changes. But you can't build calluses by staying comfortable. And this is where he introduces the rule that people quote all the time, the 40% rule. When your mind says you're done, you're usually only around 40% of what you can actually do. Not always in a physical sense. Sometimes mentally, sometimes emotionally, sometimes creatively. The point is that your brain is built to protect you. It's not built to maximize you. So it calls the fight early. Sam tests this in the most ordinary way possible. He's working on a personal project after work and he hits that wall. The wall where your eyes get heavy and your brain says, stop. Usually he stops. This time he tries something new. He says out loud in his apartment, like a weirdo, 40%. And he keeps going for 10 more minutes. That's it, 10 minutes. But in those 10 minutes, he finishes something he's been procrastinating for weeks. And his brain does something unexpected. It gets quieter. It's like his mind realized, you're not listening to me today. That's when Sam understands what Goggins is really doing with this rule. He's not telling you to torture yourself. He's telling you that your first quit signal is often a lie. And if you obey it every time, you train yourself to be fragile. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how do you keep going when you have nothing left? That's where the book brings in another tool, the cookie jar. It's basically a mental vault of proof, a place where you store your past wins. The private ones, the days you showed up, the moments you didn't quit, the times you handled pain and survived. Because when you're suffering, your brain forgets who you are. So you remind it. Sam builds his cookie jar without calling it that. He starts writing down small wins at the end of each day. Not motivational quotes, not big dreams, just proof. Worked out even though you didn't feel like it. Didn't snap in that stressful conversation. Finished the task you wanted to avoid. After 2 weeks, he reads the list on a bad day. and it changes his mood in seconds. Not because the day got easier, because he remembers he's not starting from zero. It's like carrying a flashlight into a dark room. The darkness doesn't disappear, but the fear does. Because now you can see. The next big shift in the book is a chapter called It's Not About a Trophy. This is where Goggins attacks the external reward mindset. A lot of people only grind when there's applause. They only show discipline when someone's watching. They only chase goals because they want the gold star. The kind that changes your life is built in the moments nobody claps for, in the boring middle, in the private suffering, in the quiet decision to do it anyway. Sam feels exposed by this chapter because he realizes he's been using rewards as fuel. If I hit this milestone, I'll feel good. If someone compliments me, I'll stay consistent. If results show up fast, I'll keep going. But life doesn't pay on your schedule. So Sam tries a new rule for a month. No reward until the work is done. No celebration until the habit is normal. And he notices something uncomfortable. Without trophies, his ego gets angry. But without trophies, his character gets stronger. It's like learning to cook without needing someone to taste the food and praise you every 5 minutes. You're not doing it for approval. You're doing it because you're building a skill. And skills don't care about compliments. Now the book shifts into a deeper, almost scary topic. The most powerful weapon. Goggins talks about the voice in your head, not the cute, positive voice, the real one, the one that whispers excuses, the one that predicts failure, the one that says you're not ready, the one that tries to keep you safe by keeping you small. And he treats that voice like an opponent, not something you pamper, something you train against. This part matters because most people think they're weak, when really they're just undisciplined in their self-talk. They let their mind say anything. Sam starts noticing his voice like it's a separate person. When he wakes up, it says, stay in bed. When he works, it says, you're behind. When he tries, it says, you're not that kind of person. So Sam runs a dialogue experiment, and then he answers it with something brutally honest. Voice, you're tired. Answer, you're tired and you're still capable. Voice, you'll fail anyway. Answer, maybe, but quitting guarantees it. Voice, you don't have time. Answer, you waste time every day. Don't lie, this isn't positive thinking, it's combat. And the more Sam does it, the less power the voice has, because the voice feeds on passive obedience. It hates confrontation. Now, the next chapter is Talent Not Required, and this one is dangerous in a good way, because it removes your favorite excuse. If you believe success is mostly talent, then you're off the hook. You can say, I wasn't born with it. Then the responsibility comes back to you. Goggins' life becomes the proof point here, is he's showing that you can outwork your limits. Not forever, not magically, but enough to change your identity. This chapter also highlights something else. Hard work isn't just effort, it's consistency under discomfort. Sam learns this the hard way when he tries to jump into a tough routine too fast. He goes hard for a few days, then crashes. So he adjusts. He stops chasing heroic days. He starts chasing repeatable days. He picks a pace he can do even when he's stressed, and suddenly his progress becomes steady. It's like building a brick wall. You don't throw all the bricks in one day and call it a house. You lay one, then another, then another. And the wall gets taller almost without you noticing. Uncommon amongst uncommon. This is where Goggins talks about not comparing yourself to average, but they measure themselves against regular standards. They celebrate what normal people celebrate. I worked out twice this week. I didn't quit immediately. I tried. And look, trying matters, starting matters. But if you truly want uncommon results, you can't use common standards. You have to raise the baseline. Sam feels this one in his friendships. He notices that most conversations are about comfort, food, entertainment, complaints, weekend plans, until it becomes your entire mental diet. So Sam makes a decision. He's not going to cut people off. He's going to upgrade his environment. He starts listening to people who demand more from themselves. He starts reading harder books. He starts spending more time doing things that challenge him. And he notices something wild. When your environment gets sharper, your excuses sound dumber. It's like trying to stay lazy in a gym full of people lifting heavy. Nobody has to shame you. The atmosphere does it for them. The empowerment of failure, because most people think failure is proof they should stop. Goggins flips it. Failure is data. Failure is tuition. If you don't run from it. He talks about getting humbled, getting exposed, getting hurt, and using it as fuel. Not the fake motivational fuel, the kind that says, "Good, now I know what I need to fix." Sam has a failure that lands right in this chapter. He signs up for something that scares him. A challenge at work, a presentation, a role, something where he has to be visible. Kind of. Then the day comes and he freezes. He stumbles. He feels his face get hot. He leaves the room feeling like an idiot. Old Sam would disappear for weeks. Old Sam would label himself. I'm not cut out for this. But because of this chapter, he tries a different response. That night, he opens a notebook and writes one sentence at the top. This failure is a map. Then he lists what went wrong. Specific things. He didn't rehearse enough. He didn't breathe. He didn't simplify. He tried to sound smart instead of being clear. It hurts to write, but it also feels powerful because now the failure isn't a verdict. It's a blueprint, and it's not perfect, but it's better. That's empowerment. Turning pain into a teacher instead of a prison. What if? This isn't a cute, dreamy what if, it's a terrifying one. What if you actually did what you said you wanted? What if you stopped negotiating? What if you took full ownership of your mind without needing motivation first? Goggins pushes the reader into an uncomfortable truth. Most people never meet their real potential. Not because they're incapable, because they never find out who they are under pressure and call it living. So he's basically daring you. Meet the real you, the one that shows up when it's hard, the one that keeps moving when nobody's watching, the one that doesn't need permission. Sam sits with that question for a week. It follows him around, at the grocery store, in the car, while scrolling. What if? And then one day, he's about to quit a workout early, and he stops. He doesn't hype himself up. He doesn't do a speech. He just asks, quietly, what if you did not quit right now? And he finishes. Then he does it again the next day. And again. And something changes that's hard to explain unless you felt it. His confidence stops being a mood. It becomes a record, a stack of evidence. You walk differently. You speak differently. You treat your future differently. Because the person you become is no longer based on what you hope you'll do. It's based on what you've proven you can do. Now, let's pull the whole book together into one clear message. Can't Hurt Me is not just a story about endurance. It's a manual for building self-respect through deliberate suffering. Face the truth, even when it stings. Stop hiding from your own reflection. Build calluses through repeated discomfort. Use your past wins as proof when your mind lies. Stop chasing trophies, start chasing standards. Treat your inner voice like an opponent you train against. Choose effort over talent. Raise your baseline until hard becomes normal. Turn failure into a map. What if you did the thing? And if you're wondering where to start small. But start real, because the whole point is not to watch someone else be tough. It's to become tougher yourself. Here are a few things you can start doing right now based on what we just covered. First, create your own accountability mirror moment. Put one uncomfortable truth somewhere you'll see it daily. Make it specific, not dramatic. Something like, or I keep choosing comfort over progress. Then ask yourself one time per day, what would the honest version of me do next? Second, build a cookie jar list. Every night, write down one win. It can be tiny. The point is to create proof you can borrow from later. When your brain says you're weak, you'll have receipts. Third, practice the 40% rule in safe situations. When you want to stop, go a little longer. Not forever, just a little. Teach your mind that the first quit signal isn't law. Fourth, pick one discomfort you'll do daily for a month. Something boring, something repeatable. A walk, a workout, reading, practicing a skill. Don't chase intensity. Chase consistency under discomfort. And finally, the next time you fail, don't run. Write the map, ask what exactly broke down, and what do I change next time? That single habit turns pain into progress. That's it for this video. I hope it was useful and gave you something real to think about. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.